All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast, whatever the hell you want to call this show I got going on. Welcome back to the college football. Is it week 11? Yeah, week 11 recap. Coach Nathan West is back. He's upgraded. I'm going to upgrade his pay to co-host. And then the original co-host, Brad, ghosted us, but now he's back. I don't know.
Thank you, COVID.
He had to grow his mustache out. I think that's what he was doing last week. Was he had to prepare for the mustache game. I think he listens, guys. We gotta be careful. I think we gotta.
No, I'm just saying. I think about it every year when I do it. It's not a bad.
This legendary mustache.
Hey, Brad, you know who listens? And if he listens to this, shout out to him. Coach Sandiford listens. He messages me sometimes.
Oh, no shit?
Yeah.
Coach Jay Sandiford?
He asked me how to start his own podcast, so I had to tell him. So,
I listened to that.
So if he listens, shout out to him, I guess. He messages me sometimes and he goes, yeah, I listen. I'm like, oh, well.
No shit.
You know what sucks is there's so many podcasts out there now that I like to listen to. Like, I don't have enough time to listen to them.
I'm to the point I just constantly have one playing in the background. Like, I'm not really listening, but it's like white noise. And every once in a while I hear something. I'm like, oh, shit.
That's good info.
Well, my problem is when I interview these coaches, they have their own YouTube channel or podcast. So now I'm like, I have to go listen to that before I talk to them or even after. I'm up to like 25. I'm like, oh, I got all this stuff I have to listen to.
Just
but I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm a nice guy. So I'm like, I have to listen. And it's good stuff. It's fantastic stuff. Like, and it's just, I don't have a lot of time. So what do I do at school? I listen to podcasts. Screw education. That's what I do. So this is the Joe Rogan style sports, Joe Rogan sports style. We need to talk to him. Let's see if we can just be a sub of Joe Rogan. This is the sports side of it.
Dude, if we could get a mention on his podcast, you would explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd move to Texas for that.
Well, you got to have a fiddle and a band.
That's where you guys come in.
I'm not playing fucking fiddle.
I'll play fiddle. I love fiddle.
Okay.
Brad, you have a mustache. You were playing the fiddle or the moonshine mason jar. One of the two.
There you go. I'll be the guy that like blows on the jug. Like, yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, hot topics.
Hot topics. It was just topics. And then Coach West said, no, hot topics. And then next week it'll be sizzling hot topics. We'll just keep going. Like that wing show, like when they eat the wings and talk. We can keep going.
Okay. I'm going to start really quick. We are like this close to football being taken away. Like this close. How many games were just canceled this week?
Let me look at it.
Like the whole SEC?
Yeah. One. Well, they were postponed. The SEC games are postponed.
Okay.
But all but one, I think, SEC's. No, there was two SEC schools played this week. You had Vanderbilt and Arkansas and Florida and whoever.
I counted 15 that were either postponed or canceled for this past week. It's a lot of the Pac-12 canceling and the Big Ten, but the SEC will reschedule because I'm getting ahead of myself. The SEC did it right and came back early for this reason. Big Ten and Pac-12 said, no, we don't want to play. Then they saw, oh, we're losing money. We got to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's be honest, because I know that I don't think we were going to address this when we were talking before this, but I think that Ohio State Maryland thing. Ohio State had so much to lose, but not that much to win against Maryland, being unranked. And then going into an Indiana game. What was the whole backstory behind that? Did they just say, oh, we're canceling? Like, who called that off? Does anybody know?
The Ohio State one?
Yeah.
I think Maryland had a bunch of COVID cases, and so they didn't want to play. And originally, when I read it, it said postponed. and then it got changed to canceled.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Me and Nathan said this last week, Brad. I don't know if you listened. Ohio State has no wiggle room. So we were sitting here saying, okay, if Ohio State gets every game in and they're 8-0, they are in the conversation for that college football playoff. But being an 8-0, do they get in over like a 9-1 Texas A&M who only lost to Alabama? Well, then we said, what if Ohio State loses a game like this and now they end up going 7-0 instead? Does that overshadow a team in the SEC that was able to get all their games in? But then it's like, oh, it's not fair. They didn't start on time. Well, it's like,
yeah, because
sorry.
let's be honest. Let's look at Ohio State's schedule right now. Okay. Beat Nebraska. They're terrible. Beat Penn State. They're terrible. Beat Rutgers. They're just slightly worse than Illinois, which is still terrible. They play Illinois. They're terrible. They play Michigan State. They're terrible. And they play Michigan. They're terrible. They have Indiana next. If they don't have a good showing against Indiana, I would not let them in. They have to win. Like, this is a have to win, and I think Indiana will beat them.
Okay,
I
so
like it. I like it.
I'm going. They have that vibe to them right now. They have so much momentum. Ohio State's coming off a game they were going to prepare for. Now they don't have it. I would have a hard time if Ohio State has to cancel this next week, putting them in, knowing that they've basically played a bunch of shit bums.
Well, I mean, my thing is you can only play who you're scheduled for, right?
Yeah.
Now, if it came out that Ohio State came out and said, like, we don't want to play Maryland, like, then, yeah, I'd probably boot you out. But if it's the Big Ten saying, hey, they're not going to play, my thing is, like, the rules don't seem equal. Like, Illinois has a bunch of players out.
Yes.
They're still playing games.
It comes down to the school. It comes down to the school.
Now, see, if it's down to the school, that's bullshit. Like,
because me and Nathan talked about it before. Like, why is Illinois playing? We said this before. Illinois didn't want to play in the first place. So why are they playing? But then it comes down to scholarship players too. So is Illinois' players not on scholarship? You're supposed to have so many.
Yeah.
So did Maryland's scholarship players get COVID? So now they don't have enough. Did Ohio State say we don't want to get COVID, so why risk it and decide not to play? So if that's the case, Ohio State should not make it then.
Or is Illinois going like, hey, we weren't going to be good anyway, so we might as well throw some of these younger guys out here and get some seasoning on them.
And piss off the Sideline podcast? Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Let's be honest, though. We beat Rutgers by maybe 4 more. Maybe we beat them by a touchdown instead of a field goal with our starters. Let's be real here. It isn't like, oh, we're so decimated. We're terrible to begin with.
All right. On a lighter note, I think we're probably going to start every week with some coronavirus bullshit, and I think we need to move on from that quickly, or else this will just get depressing.
That's true.
How much fun would it be to play for Lane Kiffin? Did anybody watch the game?
Dude, did you see that celebration? He threw that clip probably 40 feet in the air.
Well, he did it twice. The second time they sent a GA up into the stands because he threw his play card like into the stands. When they went for it on 4th down and got it and like touchdown at the end of the game, he threw his fucking clipboard again into the stands. They sent some poor 20-year-old up there to steal it away from somebody. Like, that dude has to be so much fun.
But then again, I see that, but at the same time, isn't he the one that basically screws over every place he goes and they go under sanctions? Like, he was at USC, right?
The sanctions happened right before he started, so he inherited
the sanctions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where people get mad at was Tennessee for a year and then jumping ship. They're mad at him for that.
Yeah.
He's hilarious on Twitter. That's where he gets in trouble sometimes. But I think being at Alabama reinvented himself. So I think he's doing what Nick Saban wouldn't allow him to do. If he did that when Nick Saban was out, he'd be like, "What the hell are you doing, boy? Get right back here by me and don't move."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
If you're a program that struggles, like Illinois or like Ole Miss or Mississippi State, what they did with Mike Leach, like, why not? This dude's a good coach. Like, he made Florida Atlantic relevant for a year.
A couple of years.
He's fun. He brings in recruits. You just had a quarterback throw for 600 yards. Like, why not bring that guy in? I would every single time.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Pay him.
Yeah, I mean, look at what we're paying Lovey.
Yeah. Like, we're going to get to that. But, like,
are you talking about Illinois trying to get Lane Kiffin when he was available?
I wish he never would have gone there.
No, he wants to be in the SEC. That was never going to happen. I would love it, but Champaign is not where he wants to be. He wants to be in the South. He wants to be. We'll get to Illinois stuff. I have some thoughts. We can get to that. But he's a good coach. He's really good.
But here's a hot topic. How many names we're seeing this year in the top 25 that in other years we've never seen? Indiana, Marshall, SMU lost yesterday, but they were in the top 25. Liberty, Northwestern, and the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns all in the top 25.
Love it.
It's
So,
like
Coastal Carolina.
Oh, Coastal Carolina, yeah.
it's like the old NCAA football games when you've like simmed 5 years forward and you're like, fucking San Jose State? What are you doing?
They finally did it.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they're 4-0. San Jose State. That's why I brought it up.
Wow.
Little
The top 25.
like I can't fall asleep Mountain West football.
Didn't San Jose State beat Illinois like a few years back? I'm pretty sure I was at that game.
Yeah.
I remember when EIU went to San Diego State, maybe. It was either San Diego State or San Jose State. I can't remember. And Eastern Illinois beat them by like 35 points. That was with Jimmy G and them. They beat them. They went there, made $800,000 or whatever it was to beat them.
Yeah.
Which
And then EIU went. Then EIU went under financially. I'm like, where'd that $800,000 go?
$800,000 isn't shit though. Like if you're trying to run a college football program, it's a drop in the bucket.
Brad, when Charleston played Mattoon, we had more fans for that than an Eastern Illinois game. There was not a seat left in that house for a Mattoon Charleston game. And Charleston is not very good. So you tell me what that tells you. No offense to Charleston now. The coach there, I'm going to get myself in trouble. The coach at Charleston now is a good guy. So it's going fine. But at the time, not very good.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is if I'm a quarterback, like an Elite 11 quarterback, right, and I haven't committed yet, why the hell would you go to Alabama? Where you're going to compete against top-ranked dudes? Like, I would much rather go to Ole Miss and be Lane Kiffin's 5-star quarterback that he got to bring in.
Yeah. Or would you rather go to Mike Leach and throw it around?
Same thing.
But see, here's the thing. When has Nick Saban's only had 2 top quarterbacks, Hurst and Tua. He doesn't get these big-time quarterbacks to win. No. So I don't think he cares too much about.
Yeah, but if I'm a quarterback, I think I would be reaching out. Like, hey, I think I can beat that guy. Because let's be honest here, okay? So once Lane Kiffin gets into that national contender, that realm of things, okay, then there's a reason to go. You go to Alabama because you got a really good shot of playing the most important game of the year.
Yeah, but I mean, I know as an 18-year-old, your thoughts are different than someone our age, right?
Right.
Like, if I'm thinking like, who's going to make me the best quarterback, and if I'm an Elite 11 quarterback, I'm going to go somewhere where I put up a shitload of yards, and then I'm going to get drafted really high.
Well, then you want to go to Oklahoma, right? You got Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
Oklahoma's the same problem. Like, there's so much competition there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'd rather go to Mississippi State or Ole Miss and end up with like one of these coaches that coaches the shit out of quarterbacks. And the next thing you know, like, I'm in Heisman contention. Or you go to North Carolina.
Yeah,
Like,
Mac Jones is a good guy.
Absolutely. Like, one of these schools that it might not be the best school on earth, but like, you have a quarterback friendly coach.
Yeah. But I think if you're like a Herbert build, so like if you're not the prototypical build, because those guys always come out, right? The guys that look the part.
Yeah.
If I'm an undersized guy, I'm looking to go to an established program where I can win because I can't market my size.
True. But I think the freshman that plays for Wisconsin right now, he hasn't figured out. Like, if you're going to play quarterback, why the hell wouldn't you go to Wisconsin? You get to run the ball 30 times a game. You've got to throw it 20 times maybe. And you can go 21.
Yeah.
Every game you can do that because you're so dominant. And you're not going to get hit.
No, they have a great line.
Every year they have like a top 5 offensive line in college football.
Yeah. But like you look at Oklahoma's peeled out 2 number 1 draft picks here, and I know that competition's big, but like, what have they been in the national title? I mean, just a little bit. They're never really a player in it.
No, because an SEC school goes and whoops their ass every year.
Yeah. So I guess if you think that you're a little bit lacking in size and you need to prove that you're a winner, then you go there. But if you're a Justin Herbert that's 6'6" and can throw the ball 85 yards in the air, you can go where the hell you want.
Yeah. Which, by the way, like, it's weird because I watch a lot of Oregon football. I never saw Justin Herbert doing what he's doing now at Oregon.
Dude.
It goes to show like a system can hold a dude back a little bit from being what he really is.
Well, and that's why we get into the whole Bears conversation with Nagy. The play calling is almost total opposite from 2018 till now. It was loose. It was rollouts. It was getting people on the move. And now it's like this methodical, we literally got beat by the Rams, who runs 3 wide receiver sets and does jet sweep 95% of the time, or like a jet motion.
Yeah.
We don't even motion. We just kind of like do some. It's like we lost Tariq Cohen and everything just went out the window.
Yeah. We get I formation, Cordero Patterson run in the A gap. Yeah.
Look at what Mike Davis is doing. Look at what Jordan Howard's doing. Like, those guys aren't bad where they're at.
No.
And we passed on both those. As a matter of fact, Mike Davis didn't even play for us. He's a top fantasy football option for like 3 or 4 years. Now we're really straying off or 3 or 4 games this year. We're really straying off topic. But I think, honestly, like the NFL, it's if your coach wants the system to work for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I don't know. Okay. Next thing here, who is your guys' Heisman frontrunner at this point?
Dude, that kid from Alabama. Let's go Wing T, that quarterback. Because I think if you're gonna miss games, he has the edge because he's on the number 1 team in the country. I like
Mac Jones.
Shut him down.
Are you talking about Mac Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude is just lighting it up.
Mine right now is Kyle Trask, kid from Florida. Like, if he doesn't come out and throw 5 touchdowns a game, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, their defense can't stop anything.
What about the Wilson kid from BYU? They're undefeated, and he's slinging it around.
Yeah. I would have a hard time not giving it to Trask at this point because, like, that team functions because he is so good.
But at the same time,
would still be good with, like, a warm body playing quarterback.
Yeah, but if he's so good, then why do they do the 2 quarterback bullshit?
What, Florida?
Yeah. They bring in that one kid and they run stupid stuff. If I got he might be the first Heisman guy who has somebody else come in and run fucking plays.
Well, remember, that might just be a Florida thing. Do you remember Chris Leak?
Yeah.
He had Tim Tebow come in on goal line shit.
Yeah, but look at what Tim Tebow was. I think Chris Leak was in there because I think they split the time because it was either Tebow was playing all the time or Tebow was getting some snaps, but Tebow was playing.
True.
Might be the best collegiate leader of all time. Like, that guy was just unbelievable.
I give him and Urban Meyer a lot of credit because think about how many monsters were, and I'm not talking monster football players, I'm talking bad people were on that Florida Gators team.
Yeah.
You had a murderer, and then the Pouncey brothers who will kill someone someday, probably. Yeah. I'm not saying this, Pouncey brothers, if you ever see that. But like,
I wouldn't want to go after their quarterback. Let me just put it that way. The Pouncey.
No, absolutely not. Like, okay, Steve, I sent you that video of Urban Meyer on the college football show.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm trying to find these statistics. Urban Meyer had
to turn a program around, right?
Well, no, he was talking about, like, if your program's struggling, it would piss him off when people would say, like, the players aren't good.
Yes. Yeah.
He was like, you got to look under the hood because it's either like the coaching doesn't match the players don't trust the coaches.
Yep.
Coaches don't trust the players. Like, you can make anything work. You just have to get the stick out of your ass and, like, figure it out.
Yeah, you really got to think outside the box. But I think some of these guys in college, they have their system. That's why they got there in their mind. And that system is not going to change, Yeah. And I think your best coaches are the ones that can curtail that, and make it whatever it needs to be.
Well, I think Urban Meyer is one of the best ones I've ever seen at that because you see his offense and it's always good.
Yes.
And then it doesn't matter whether or not he's got a dual threat guy back there or a traditional quarterback. Like, the offense works one way or another.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was awesome because I'm kind of the same way. Like, I hate it when media outlets shit on players for screwing something up.
Because ultimately, if you're a player and you're a good player, you listen to your coach. So you're going to do what you got to do, kind of like Nick Foles and Matt Nagy. Nick Foles knows the play isn't going to work, but he still runs the same play.
Yeah.
He's the good soldier. So, yeah, I watched that and I was like, that's pretty interesting because you watch like Illinois and it's just like, we won a game and there just wasn't much excitement. It was just dull. Yeah. From what I saw, it was just dull.
Brad, if you like Urban Meyer, have you read his book Above the Line?
No, I watched that and then immediately ordered his book.
I read it a couple years ago and I still have it. Like, Urban Meyer's shadiness, I don't like, but his leadership and his coaching, you can't ignore. I know, like, the shady side of the competitiveness of his competitive side got the better of him of hiding that stuff and like, oh, I'm going to brush this away. But his leadership is still there. You see it on the show. Everything he touches wins. So, I mean, it's still good. Above the Line is really good. You should read that. I know you don't coach, but it's other things. He talked about other things then.
Well, no, I think for people that may listen to this, I know no one does.
We have somebody watching.
My thing is, like, you don't have to be a coach to learn good habits from a good coach. Like, I have employees that work for me at this point, and I look at coaching stuff to see, like, how I deal with problems at work. right? Like there's just life lessons that can be learned from somebody like an Urban Meyer, who, like you said, may let his competitive streak get him in trouble sometimes. Like, see how he really thinks about that stuff, you know? Steve, you never said who your Heisman candidate is.
He said BYU, didn't he?
Yeah, I wrote down our 3 quarterbacks. Trask is thrown for, I hope I wrote this down right, 2,171 yards, 28 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. His QBR is 93.9. Jones from Indiana has thrown for 2,196 yards, 16 touchdowns.
In Alabama.
Or Alabama. 2 touchdowns. His QBR is 95.6. Wilson has thrown for 2,512 yards, 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. His QBR is 87.5.
It's all pretty relative.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Wilson quarterback, BYU, because they're undefeated. And he just looks good. Now, Trask is probably going to win it, but
yeah, I don't know.
Alabama's got too many good running backs that are in contention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're not going to talk about this game very much, but did you watch Nebraska Penn State?
Penn State sucks.
They're awful. But the McCaffrey kid, the true freshman, he's going to be a stud. And if Scott Frost can like stay there and survive for 2 years, that team's going to be scary. Like real scary.
Maybe. He's been there a while. Maybe.
Yeah. Nebraska fired Bo Pelini for going like 9-3.
Yeah, and Bo Pelini went to LSU and immediately ruined their defense.
Right, but 9-3, or I think maybe 9-4. I would take that at Illinois.
I was going to say, if Illinois went that, I'd be like jumping up and down, be like, oh my God, we don't suck. We don't suck. Like,
We're going to third bowl.
But you're playing in a slightly more meaningful game than the bootleg Red Box Bowl.
The
You know what I mean?
The Blockbuster
We're at least
Bowl.
closing in on January 1st if we go 9-4.
Yeah.
Right now, we're going to be scrubbing the toilets at the new freaking football complex thing at the rate that we're going. Like, that's where we're at.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They're going to be cleaning the assembly hall for the basketball games. This is what they're going to be doing. Oh, State Farm Center. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You guys clean up for the basketball team. That's just about all you do.
We do their laundry.
Yeah. All right.
By the way, I know that's college football, but Illinois, first 2 weeks, Baylor, Duke, and then who's the other one? Is it Missouri playing the first? Is it Baylor, Duke, Missouri?
What did you think about the coin flip?
Just whatever.
It's stupid, right?
Yeah.
And what's Illinois, number 8?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Big Ten has 3 teams in the top 10.
Yeah.
And I've never realized this before, but I fucking hate Iowa.
Oh, dude. The Garza guy, I swear to you, he's one of those guys that's if he's on your team, you love him. But if he's against you, you hate him.
Yeah.
And superstar in the Big Ten. Like, normally those guys are like the Luke Johnsons of the world, the hustle guys that always just irritate the hell out of everybody. Oh, no, this is their best freaking player. And he's good.
Jacob McLaughlin, who's our commenter, commented saying they play Mizzou.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So those 3 games, and if they have to go to Missouri, that is that's going to be a heck of a stretch. We're going to find out real quick what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because I saw some ESPN guys predicted Baylor to win the national championship. So here we go.
Talk about a school that like rebounds from sanctions really well.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like Baylor every 4 years is getting the death penalty, and they're still competitive. In everything. It's like basketball, football. They're in trouble for everything all the time. And they're still competitive.
And they just do this. They're just like, it's fine. We're okay. We'll just brush it off.
Fuck it.
All right. So can we officially move on from oh, yeah. Well, there we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve.
That's a lot of dots for a win.
There's more. It won't show anymore. Don't you worry. I think somewhere down the end it says sucks, and it just won't pop it
up. Okay. Does anybody want to start this? I have something I have to say.
So Illinois won 23-20, and you think we'd all be excited for it, like, oh my God, they won a game. But it's Rutgers, and Illinois looked awful, and they should have lost the game. So I'm not too excited. It's like watching the Bears all of a sudden, and it's awful. And it's awful.
They did what they had to do to beat Rutgers. They did what they had to do to beat Rutgers. Rushing the quarterback 30 times, you can beat Rutgers.
Oh, this is where Brad wants to get on his box here. He texted us something, and he wants to get on there.
I want to come out and say that as soon as Illinois won, I sent both of you guys a GIF of Michael Scott from The Office saying, I'm ready to be heard again. And I'm so back in. Like, I just dove back into the Illinois season. And I hate myself for it.
This is why you have a mustache.
I hate myself for it. They are going to break my heart so bad for the rest of the season. But I love Isaiah Williams.
Now,
you love Juice Williams.
You love Juice Williams.
Different Isaiah Williams.
No, because Isaiah Williams, do you remember Juice Williams used to throw like a 500-mile-an-hour fastball on 5-yard out routes?
You remember when he threw it clear through the uprights for an incompletion?
Yeah, like
a receiver on a wide open post.
Juice had no off button, and he couldn't like not throw a bullet every time. Like Isaiah has a little touch to his passes, and you know how they say.
What were you watching the Juice Williams Ohio State game, or were you watching the Illinois Rutgers game? Which Illinois team were you watching yesterday? Touch passes my ass,
Steve. Okay.
He doesn't have the arm strength to throw the damn ball.
I can throw farther than him. Jesus Christ.
He's the only quarterback in the NCAA that's like 120 pounds.
That's true. He's the Allen Iverson of Big Ten football.
Absolutely. Okay. You know how they say, like, you're a poor man's this? Well, Isaiah Williams is a homeless man's Kyler Murray. And I want to believe it. Like, I want it so bad.
Okay. Just stop for a second. We're just going to stop for a second. Brad, this is the confession. We're changing this to the confession booth. Is there anything you need to talk about before you continue? Did something happen yesterday that made you think this?
We talked about this before. I would have told you this is a bad idea.
Now, to defend Brad, did you hear Jay Lehman say he looks like a Kyle Murray runner when he runs the football? Yeah. He looks like Kyle Murray when he runs the ball. And then he comes back and he goes, but he can't pass like him. So he fixed what he said. Now, he's a good kid. He looks like a good athlete. Like, I loved it. But here's my problem overall. Could he be a good quarterback? Because is he a freshman?
Mm-hmm.
He can be.
Is he a red shirt? I don't even know how to play last year. Yeah, he played last year, but they have like 4 games now they can play, and then still red shirt.
I don't know. I'm looking.
Yeah, look that up.
He's a freshman, it says.
Okay. Really? So they redshirted him even though he played a little bit.
He's going to be a Heisman Trophy winner.
Dear God.
Just let me have something.
You can't run the quarterback.
I'll give you something. By his senior year, Illinois will be a 500 team again.
That's fine.
You cannot run the quarterback 31 times
at 160 pounds and have him.
Why not? Why can't you?
You can do it.
High school.
If he played Wisconsin, he would have gotten killed.
Okay. Did he take a single really hard hit? He took one.
Yes. Every hit's a hard hit.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about, though. Like,
well, can I just do an overall picture here before we get too much on? Because I don't want to talk bad about this guy because we don't know him. It seems like a good kid, good athlete. I'm going to do the big picture. Illinois changed their freaking offense again, and they're trying to do, and like you can't do that every week. They try to run the option. He looks like an option quarterback. They need to run the pistol option, and I'm all for it with him. I told you guys that I'm all for Paul Johnson coming in and getting this kid to run. I'm all for it. Doing the spread run stuff where he's doing draws and doing this and doing that's going to get him hurt when he has no other option. It's going to get him hurt, and you can't do it 31 times. If they play Ohio State soon, Ohio State's going to take his head off. And so you can't just say, let's run an inside zone just for him, or let's run a power just for him every single time. They can't do that. Illinois fell in love with it, and he's going to get hurt. And if they can do RPOs and quick passes and get him to do that, that's all fantastic. But it's Illinois, and they haven't done that. I just hate as a coach watching it how they change their freaking offense every single week. First week they're spread and they're going to throw it around. Next time it's like, we're just going to run the football with our running backs. Then it's, let's do the option. You can't do just the option a couple of times. You have to marry it and like do it all the time and do this and do that. And they're just not doing it. And you can't run them 31 times.
And here's the other thing. Are you going to now start him over Brandon Peters and then basically ruin your chance of getting any transfer quarterbacks because Brandon Peters comes in and
okay, all right. Isaiah Williams was a 5-star recruit, right?
yes.
Okay. As an athlete, fine. Okay. Let him play. What else do you have to lose? I've seen what Brandon Peters can do, and it's not impressive. It's just not. And this team sucks. Okay. And we just went through a thing like the players don't suck. It's just the team is not working right now.
No, something's not jiving there. I have my theory. Keep them off of it.
If you're Illinois, take a flyer on this dude that has such a high upside and let him go out there and play football. Like, I get it. Yeah, if you want to keep bringing in grad transfers, but the majority of grad transfers that you want are the Matterbebe brothers. Yeah. Like, those are the grad transfers we want. And why not put a quarterback in there that makes the offense look competent so you get more grad transfers?
I think they need to win. I don't know if I don't know who they're going to play this year that they could, maybe I don't even know who they could play to win another game.
Who is Illinois' offensive coordinator is Rod Smith, right?
Yes.
Did anybody watch what he did in Arizona with a running quarterback?
I was just getting ready to say this. If you keep him at quarter, let's see, you're in Arizona, now you're in Illinois. There's a difference. Arizona gets dudes. We don't get dudes. Yes, they do.
Arizona's the trash can of the Big 12. It's like Oregon State, Arizona.
They are now, but they were getting some dudes at Arizona back in the day. Trust me, after coaching football games on Friday nights, all we had was the Pac-12 after dark.
Late Pac-12 game, yeah.
That's the only time I could watch Mike Leach was Friday night at midnight. If you're going to keep this kid in at quarterback, then you need to pick an offense and stick to it. What they did yesterday was a combination of what he should be in and what they want to do rather than what he could do. But his arm strength is scary.
He was 33% passing completion percentage.
He had 4 days of practice.
33%.
4 days And
he was there all last year.
Let's just say something. Against a Greg Schiano team that is well coached.
So you're telling me that this kid could have ran for 192 yards against Ohio State?
No,
Wisconsin.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's a world beater and is going to make the difference. I'm saying going out there on 4 days practice, having come off lockdown, because remember, he was one of the guys that had to quarantine, right?
Yeah.
He then went on 4 days practice and won a football game against a well-coached Rutgers team.
I guess this is the stats for the season. Hold on here. Let me see if I can find the actual game. 7 of 21 for the season. 1 interception. And let's see here if I can find the damn game stats.
Well, looking at their schedule, they play
Now,
Nebraska.
rushing, he was the team leader in rushing after 1 game.
Yeah.
Our leading rusher is chasing around with 247 yards. So,
you know what they do with Russell Wilson? Let Russ cook. Let Juice cook. Let the dude do it. And if he gets his head taken off, he gets his head taken off.
He can't pass the ball, Brad. He cannot pass.
Neither can any of the other quarterbacks on the team.
Brandon Peters can throw the ball better.
Brandon Peters takes 3 steps back, and our offensive line's so out that he gets it blown up.
now you do have a point there.
Yeah.
He was 7 of 18 for 104 yards yesterday.
Like, if you put Brandon Peters behind yesterday's offensive line, he may just be dead.
So let me ask you this. Let's keep the kid in at quarterback. They play Nebraska next week. Do they have a chance to beat Nebraska if he's playing?
Yes.
Do they have a chance to beat Ohio State the next week?
No.
What about Iowa the week after that?
Maybe. Iowa's like, wait, is it at home or is it at Iowa?
It's at home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That
And then
team's
they play
Original Illinois fan.
Minnesota killed Illinois, and then Iowa killed Minnesota.
So that was okay. That game was at Iowa.
There's no fans, no matter where you go.
Everything changes at Iowa.
Everyone's on a regular, unless you go to Texas or Florida, everybody's on the same playing field.
No. You do that little wave thing to the cancer kids, and then you lose a football game. That's what happens in Iowa. Okay?
They're pink locker rooms. They still have those.
Pink locker rooms. No one wins in Iowa, basketball or football. They made a deal with the devil that's like, we're never actually going to win anything, but we are going to beat really good teams because we're Iowa.
You know, I'm just going to cancel this college football recap and make it the Illinois recap because we can go on forever.
Hey,
but I don't think I want to like Isaiah Williams. I don't think he'll have success unless he gets new coaches that will keep him from getting killed.
I agree because I like him a lot. I like how he can run the ball. I like zone reads. I like power reads. If he can get some RPO game going, I love it. But is Illinois going to adjust that to him when they change it every freaking week? I don't know. I want to like him. I want him to be good. I just don't know if we got Clemson's offensive coordinator, yes. But right now, no.
Okay.
Illinois defense sucks.
You're now on board with Paul Johnson to Illinois, Steve?
If it's a pistol, I am all for it.
Yeah. No, you shut up. Because you made fun of me.
I mean, it's better than
what we have going on right now.
Exactly. You would take that 6-win triple option Paul Johnson bullshit over the current steaming pile of coaches.
This isn't even like a pile of dog crap. This is like elephant.
Yeah. It's like that video of them giving the elephant a enema. Have you seen that? And it just that's what it feels like watching this every week.
Yeah.
And Paul Johnson.
I think if they bring in somebody who's a winner, somebody who can be fiery, they can have success. And I think they've got to be fiery more so than knowing Chicago. Because if you got a guy that's exciting, people will come to you.
Yeah.
Where have stoicism, I don't even know if that's a word, on the sideline. Nobody's excited to play for that.
Yeah. No.
Levy's a great mentor. I think he's a great mentor. I think he does the right thing by his student athletes, but that's not what we need.
No, it's not at all. Now, we talked about you don't like Illinois going back and forth on their offense so much. The opposite problem happens on the defense. where it's like if you run a cover 2 zone every play, you're going to get ate up. Like Lovie Smith doesn't understand that seam routes exist. Like, right? Am I wrong in saying
How
that?
many times have we seen a deep comeback and like a short flare by the running back that holds the corner, and then they just drop it in at the first down marker?
Every time.
Yeah.
And then you got Illinois' defensive line.
In 2008 when people hadn't figured out the Tampa 2 yet.
Yeah.
But then you got Illinois' defensive line. Illinois' defensive line is good at stopping the run. They just can't pass rush. That's another problem. They're good at reading and see what's going on.
Yeah.
But then their linebackers have horrible eyes. They don't drop well. They just kind of go, I don't know what to do. Shit. Like, and then our corners are just like, I'm just going to hit them really hard and pump my chest, and Lovie Smith's going to stand there and let it happen. Like, I can't stand that.
The defense, in a way, kind of reminds me of, do you remember that Bears season where they were true bend but don't break? I think it was like 2 years after the Super Bowl, and they want everyone get into the red zone and kick a field goal, but put the clamps on in the red zone, right? This Illinois team does that, but then they get to the red zone and they're like, okay, just score.
Gives us more time to have the ball.
They're bend and break.
I was going to say, they're bending and breaking.
Which isn't great.
Not like Notre Dame that will bend, but not necessarily break all the time.
And I only have one more thing on this game, and then we can move on because we're already way behind time.
Oh my God, 46 minutes. Wow.
Rutgers has a quarterback that wears number 0. And I hate it, and I love it at the same time. Because, yeah, you're the quarterback and you're wearing 0 and it looks stupid, but at the same time, you play for Rutgers, so fuck it.
Yeah. Why did they let that kid throw the ball at the end of the game? They should have just kept on running the ball. They would have been just fine.
Yeah. And we were talking about clock management on the little text. You want to talk clock management? That was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Illinois did it first. And then Rutgers turns around and does it. I'm like, ooh.
Our coaching was so bad that it infected Rutgers.
Yeah. When we come to town, you better be ready for your football team to go backwards.
Because you're trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. You're not going to figure out what you're doing.
You're going to come play at Illinois, and we're so bad, it's going to make your team worse to beat us.
We are going to call a timeout after our guy goes out of bounds with 7 seconds left. Yeah.
And we won, and we're all upset.
That's what I'm saying. You should be happy.
We know the writing on the wall, though, right? Because they do this. They do this one little cookie, and it's like it drags people like Brad in, and then they're just going to basically pee all over you for the next 5 weeks, and you're going to get more and more upset. You're going to say you're never going to do it again, and then they're going to have some cool hype video at the beginning of next season. They're going to say because of COVID, they sucked, and then all of a sudden they rope you in for another debacle.
I don't even need the hype video. I just need I need to know Isaiah Williams is going to come into the year as the starter. And I still believe he may not be done growing.
What if he transfers, Brad?
Yeah, what if he transfers to Oklahoma?
I may kill myself on the air.
So you would have to buy an Oklahoma shirt.
I'm not even an Illinois fan. I put all of my eggs in Isaiah Williams.
Yes, because he's our only hope.
And then Lovie Smith, and then we're going to punch them over and over again.
Yep.
And not even cook them. They're going to throw them in the fucking garbage. They're not even going to fucking cook it. They're going to throw it away.
Yep.
But here's my hope. Olin Kreutz's son is committed to the U of I, so hopefully he'll bring some of that magic with him.
Is his son an offensive lineman?
Yes. Here's what Jacob McLaughlin said. Can you see that? I didn't know I could do this.
Lewis tactics.
Jacob, That's a nice horse we got there. I love it.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could do that. Look at this technology stuff.
I don't know. I don't know about Brad. You know what, buddy? More power to you. I wish you were one of my fans for when I hit my downtrodden times. You could be the eternal optimist.
But listen, if you can't still have hope, that's my favorite thing about being a fan is if you're all in on something and you let yourself be all in, the heartbreak makes it so much better when you go 6-6 and you're like,
I got 3 DVDs.
But how long does it take to go 6-6? It takes a while.
Yeah, we can't go every 4 years and have a 500 season.
And then you get to go to the Outback Bloomin' Onion Bowl.
Not the Outback Bowl because that's too high. The one dedicated to the appetizer.
Yeah, the bowl game's literally played outside of the Outback in Champaign.
The Dunlar Mifflin Bowl, something like that.
No, it would be what was that freaking pyramid thing that they had? What was that company?
Oh
God.
The tablet that was
Saber.
Yes, Saber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Saber. Yeah.
The Saber Bowl.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, by the way, can you believe that we were going to take this team to Dublin, Ireland, and show them what football is all about? Shit.
They dodged a bullet.
Dude, those Irish people probably would have beat our Illini ass. What are you bringing this over here for? Can
you imagine if they went and played a game in Dublin and then after that, Great Britain and Ireland were both like, hey, NFL, I know you play a game over here every year, but that was so bad, we don't want it anymore.
Oh, this is the JV game, right? No, that was the game. That was the
This is the Thursday night freshman football game.
This is what we have to offer you. We're not going to let Notre Dame go over there. We're going to let Illinois go.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Notre Dame play a game over there every year?
They were supposed to, and then COVID hit.
No, I mean, why haven't they? It would make so much sense.
You need a place to play. And then football didn't become big in Ireland just recently. They're just now starting to get teams. And
Sure. All right.
I know my Irish stuff.
So there's more college football to talk about.
Yeah.
Than just Illinois.
Nope, this is it. We're done. We're over.
Okay.
We can talk. So how good does Wisconsin look? I know it's just Illinois and Michigan. That backup quarterback for Michigan throws a better ball than their starter.
Oh, yeah.
And they were talking about it. They're like, if he played the whole game, they would have scored more than what they did.
Wisconsin's a playoff team, right?
Could be.
I don't know.
If they have another COVID instance, you're going to let Wisconsin in with 6 games?
Didn't they just miss out on 2 games?
Yeah.
They haven't played since Illinois.
They're going to have 6 games, right?
So here's my question. Do you let them in over a 9-0, 10-0 BYU team?
Don't do it.
Because here's the thing. Before you answer that question, Brad, let's look at Wisconsin's schedule. They do not play Ohio State.
Okay.
Their next games are Northwestern.
Good football team.
Minnesota.
That would be a good game.
Minnesota. Indiana. And Iowa.
Good football team. Where's the game at? Iowa. Wisconsin.
Where did I put that? Which
it?
one?
If they go to Iowa and play in the pink locker rooms.
Yeah, they go to Iowa.
It's at Iowa?
Yes.
Hey, you're a playoff team.
Good. Yeah, that's a good schedule. That's way better than Ohio State.
So here, let's go.
If Ohio State misses more than 1 game, I would put Wisconsin in over Ohio State.
But here's my question then. Let's go a step further. we're going to take this. We're just going to go. Screw the schedule. We're going to go. We're going to go.
Let's jump down the rabbit
15-hour
hole.
podcast. Okay.
So, if Clemson and Notre Dame play each other in that ACC championship game and Notre Dame loses, so now you have Alabama, Clemson. Are you going to sit there and tell me you're going to put a 6-0 Wisconsin over a team like Notre Dame who's beat Clemson and only lost to Clemson? Would Wisconsin get in over them?
No.
Okay. So then you got Notre Dame. Who's going to be your fourth team?
Wisconsin.
Why would it be Wisconsin? Why? What if?
Yeah.
Okay. So
All
what if Florida? What if Florida makes it to the SEC championship game and somehow beats Alabama?
So, are they having a Big Ten championship game?
I
I'm
don't
a
think
horrible
so.
boss.
I'm not sure, but I don't. Oh yeah, because we discussed this last one, Steve. They're
Yeah, it's
supposed
in
to have.
December.
Yeah.
Okay. So, right now, we're
Yeah,
looking at
December 19th.
Yep.
Are Ohio State and Wisconsin in the same division? No, they're not. Yes, so we could get a Ohio State-Wisconsin Big Ten championship game. If Wisconsin beats Ohio State, they're in. Right?
But what if Indiana beats both of them?
Oh, then Indiana should be in.
Yeah.
Like if the
Those
Big
would
Ten, I know might not play all their games, but if the Big Ten ends up with an undefeated champion, they need to be in.
Now, technically, since they won, yes. But the other side of me is like, there's other teams that played a tougher schedule and played more games. They put themselves out there to get hurt, and they
That's
played
what I'm saying.
more.
That's what I'm saying. The Big Ten gets one team in. And it's going to be
But
one
right
of
now-
those.
Right now, ESPN has both them and Ohio State in.
See, I'm looking at ESPN's, and it has Wisconsin at 5.
Oh,
Or
really?
no.
So they must.
Yeah.
Like
they're
they-
Wisconsin at 5.
Like they have Clemson as like a 75% in. They're number 2. And Clemson's a one-loss team.
And Alabama's only like a 90%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know who's doing their thinking, but
ESPN laid a lot of people off, so who knows what's going on over there.
yeah.
Wisconsin is so dominant at what they do. Like, I don't have a lot of belief in Justin Fields. Like, I think if you put him around SEC athletes, he's going to fail. I think Wisconsin has that, like, they're big enough, they're strong enough to play that game. Now, are they fast enough on defense? They're not. But then again, I don't think Ohio State is either.
I think they can generate a better pass rush, maybe, but we haven't seen them play.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've seen them play Penn State, who sucks.
I mean, Ohio State, if them and Wisconsin both go undefeated just based by the schedule, Wisconsin would get that hands down. Dude, they've got to go through the fire and flames here
Yeah.
of the Big Ten. Whereas Ohio State, it's like, well, if we beat Indiana next week, we can just kick it into cruise mode because we're all playing sub 500 teams.
Yeah. So I think the Big Ten did a real big disservice to the top teams in their conference by doing this. And we've said that multiple times. There's no way 2 Big Ten teams get in. There's just not.
No. I don't think so either. I don't think they deserve it. I mean,
I don't know. Which sucks because I think Wisconsin could at least make the national championship.
And then
Like-
get spanked by Alabama.
Because they would be the 4 seed. Bama's the 1 seed.
So right now, as we sit here, who would
If
you
they
want
go
in there?
If they go undefeated, if Wisconsin goes undefeated, they won't be the 4.
Yeah, they would.
You're going to put a 1-loss Clemson team in over them, like seed-wise?
Yeah.
So then that really means
a better football team than.
Well, they are, but they lost to Notre Dame. And I know that was a good game and stuff, and that was at Notre Dame and all that, but I don't see how you could. I mean, marketability, yeah, it's better if you have Clemson and Alabama playing the national championship, but
they also lost to Notre Dame with a true freshman quarterback.
But that true freshman quarterback threw for over 400 some yards. So I never want to hear people say, "Oh, if we had Trevor Lawrence." No, that kid did everything Trevor Lawrence was going to do. Besides, till the end of the game, when the coaches got cute with their play calling, let's go quads and do this, and let's run right up the line and run a play.
Yeah. And so that's my thing is I don't think you can. If a team if Wisconsin goes undefeated in the Big Ten, wins Big Ten championship game, they would be either the 2 or the 3. I don't see how they could be the 4.
I don't know.
That's where this gets interesting.
Wisconsin Notre Dame would be a badass semi game.
That would be a slobber knocker.
Exactly. Ian Book would pass for like 5 yards. Shit.
Dude, he is very elusive. Like I watched it again and I was just like, holy God. Like
he's like white guy elusive.
Well, he is intelligent and he runs and he does have speed to him. I mean, he can cover ground fast.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me of like, again, poor man's Terrell Pryor. Remember that where he was just like faster than everyone to the perimeter.
Yeah.
And would get you 5 yards every time a play would break down.
Yeah. And then
like
just
what Ian Book does.
Without selling all of his Ohio State stuff for tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're sitting here telling me it'd be really good to have Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, and Wisconsin.
Yeah. I'm just sick of seeing Ohio State. I just want someone other than Ohio State to play.
I'm glad Oklahoma's not going in because I'm tired of seeing that.
Yeah.
I think Indiana, and I'm going to tell you this, I think Indiana beats Ohio State, and I think that puts Ohio State out of the conversation.
And I'm going to say
Indiana's got the right vibes.
I'm going to keep fighting for my BYU to get in.
It'd be nice. I mean, they at least have a quarterback that's marketable, and if that kid was able to win the Heisman, then it's really marketable.
Then they have 2 or 3 year starter offensive linemen. They're big. They have some big offensive linemen there at BYU.
They do. Okay.
So the thing is, so with Clemson and Notre Dame, so I'm like trying to like look at this. If Notre Dame is able to beat Clemson again, so Clemson's out. So then who plugs into that spot? Could the BYU sneak in then? If Notre Dame and Clemson don't split.
Right. So you'd have Alabama, Notre Dame.
Yep.
If Wisconsin runs the table, Wisconsin or Ohio State, one of the two. I think one of those two will probably come out of there. And then BYU. Is that possible? Or what? We forget about Cincinnati. They're not playing anybody, but they're undefeated. They're ranked top high too.
Yeah. Cincinnati's like number 7 right now. And they're smoking people. 55-17. That's how you're supposed to win.
And then what if Florida beats Alabama in the SEC championship game?
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Like Florida, to me, could beat Alabama. Like their defense needs to show up for one game, and their offense has the firepower to beat Alabama. And at this point, I'm just hoping for chaos. Like, I want all kinds of weird shit to happen. I want Florida to make it. I would love for BYU to make it. If Indiana made the playoff.
Oh, my God. That'd be amazing.
Because look at Indiana's schedule, okay? So they beat Penn State when they were ranked 8th in the nation. And they take that into account, right? Like at the time, you were number 8. You beat Michigan at 23. You're going to play Ohio State and Wisconsin.
And you just shut out Michigan State at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Like, that's not easy to do. I mean, all things considered. Like, they have probably the most because they got Ohio State, then they have Maryland, and they're playing pretty good ball, except for the COVID thing that happened. Then Wisconsin, Purdue, like, if they can somehow run it,
that's a playoff team.
Yeah. Who would ever thought we'd say that? And you're cheering for them, because I would rather have them over Wisconsin and freaking Ohio State. Let's just go with the dark horse.
Yeah, why not? And in reality, none of it matters, because whatever big team goes in there isn't going to win it.
Right.
Like, just let us.
I feel like chaos. Yes.
Here's my last thing about the playoff for me. If Oregon goes undefeated in the Pac-12, they're ranked 11th in the nation right now. Could they make it?
How many games will they have played?
Who are you talking about?
Oregon.
I don't think a Pac-12 team should make it to the college football playoff. 6-0 or not, I don't think.
Oh man, I just looked. Their schedule is rough. And rough not in like Stanford, Washington State, UCLA, Oregon State, Cal, Washington.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch that.
They're going to be undefeated. But what happens if they just shit can teams? Like their next 4 games, what if they hang 60 burners? Oh.
I think you've got too many other SEC schools and stuff like that are playing more games than Pac-12. I think just screw themselves over. I'm going to sit here and say no Pac-12 team deserves to be in the conversation of being in that playoff. Sure. Not due to them. It's due to the Pac-12 commissioner being a jackwagon and saying we're not going to play and then trying to come back.
Yeah.
And the Big Ten has no wiggle room.
I feel like there's a minimum threshold you should have for games that make you qualified. And I don't think 6 is that number. And that's assuming they have 0 COVID instances.
Which they already did.
Yeah. And so that's another thing. And like Steve said, I don't think that's on their team at all. I think that's just scheduling and stuff like that. I would much rather see an A&M team that's played like 12 games this year than an Oregon team that's played half of that.
I don't know. Okay.
Does Jim Harbaugh keep his job after this?
No.
He's done.
Is he gone?
The only way he can save it, beat Ohio State.
He's not beating Ohio State.
That's not going to happen. That would be the one thing.
We were talking about coaches that like will not break from what they want to do. If you're Jim Harbaugh, your defensive backs cannot play press man. They can't. Why are you still doing it?
Are they worse at something else that we don't know about? Can they not do something else? And so this is what we have, and it's awful. Yeah. That's a possibility. Look at Illinois. This is what we have. We're awful. You don't want to see what we want to do. You don't want to look at that. Don't look behind the curtain. Don't even dare peek at it.
Yeah.
So, and then Michigan, how do they look so good against Minnesota and then just, we're done. It's over. The only way Jim Harbaugh keeps his job is if they don't want to pay him
Yeah.
Like if they have to pay him a bunch of money, might as well keep him.
But I feel like Michigan's one of those schools that has so much FU money.
But at
After
the
this
same
COVID
time,
year, though,
I think COVID's going to mess with some budgets.
I didn't think about that. You're right.
if this was a normal year and this happened, he would be
Harbaugh was
gone.
probably already gone.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
may have already be gone. And I think that's why Illinois is holding on to Lovey right now. Because with the budget stuff, why pay him? We're already paying what's his face when we brought Lovey in.
Beckman,
Beckman and who was after him?
Cubitt.
Cubitt, already paying him.
Yeah.
Like, so I think he loses his. No, that's the only way he keeps his job is if they're like, we have to pay him all this money. Might as well keep him.
I feel like there would be a Michigan donor out there that would be like, I will pay for his salary if we get somebody else.
Yeah.
Like there are donors out there that can take care of business.
Oh, for sure.
That's on their athletic department to reach out to those people who can do that and then follow through with it.
And the worst part is, like, Michigan has those people.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the dude that runs Barstool Sports donates to Michigan all the time. And yesterday he bet on Wisconsin. Like, was very blatant about it. He's like, Wisconsin's going to win this game. So I think you're right. I think their donors have had it, and he's gone, which sucks.
All right,
Okay.
so Jim Harbaugh's gone. Indiana played Michigan State. Before we talk how good Indiana is, Michigan State's fallen off a lot.
What happened to Dan Toney? Like, why did they get rid of him?
He retired.
Yeah.
Oh, he retired. Okay. Because
he had like heart attacks and shit, right?
He wanted to work in, I don't know if is he there in the athletic department? I know he went somewhere to work in athletics or something. Or was that the head coach at Washington? Was he the one that did that? It was Washington's head football coach last year, or Dan Toney. They retired to go work in the athletic department.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoa. Wait, never mind.
Brad just found an article on The Onion, said Dan Toney.
No. I'm an idiot. Their coach's name wasn't Mike D'Antoni.
No,
that was the old
D'Antoni.
Phoenix Suns coach.
What was his name then?
I gotta look at it.
Why did I say D'Antoni? It's not that. It's
D'Antonio?
Yes.
Is that what it is? D'Antonio?
God, we all look like idiots.
That's okay.
What else is new?
Who would have thought they added an O to the end of it? Yeah, Mark D'Antonio.
Mark D'Antoni.
It's kind of like Joe Dirt when he called it Joe Dirte. I mean, it's all the same thing. Some old guys that coach sports.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, he retired. They don't really say why. What do you think his record was at Michigan State?
They were a constantly 9-win team, I think, right? Normally 9.
You remember, like, Michigan State used to be bad.
Yeah.
He was there for 13 years.
He took over after Saban, didn't he?
Yeah. He went 114-57.
Wow.
Yeah, because they constantly were like 7, 6, 8.
Yeah. Oh.
There you go. Jacob knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't really care about Michigan State. I do have to say this about Indiana, though. I think they're really good. I don't think they're a great football team.
I don't think they're great, but I think they're explosive enough to be a threat, if that makes sense.
They can make some big plays to keep them around and they don't get flustered because their quarterback threw 2 interceptions and they didn't flinch.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, because their head coach, I wish he was at Illinois. His fieriness, you see all his injuries from tackling his players.
Well, not just that, but like
front teeth out.
he, I think ultimately, I think that I have no clue where that thought was going. I think that they are a threat. Now, it's still a long shot for them to beat an Ohio State or a Wisconsin, but I think that they're explosive enough to be able to do it. Like,
I think they'll hang around. I think they can make some big plays and nickel and dime down the field offensively to stay relevant in the game.
yeah.
Because they look fast and strong.
They went to Michigan State, scored 24 points in the first half, and then just probably called the dogs off because then it was 0-0 after that. I mean, they shut out, and to shut out a team is pretty hard to do in college football. Like that, it's not easy to like shut somebody out. They normally get like some trash touchdown on you.
Yeah.
And that didn't.
I don't know. It was an impressive win, don't get me wrong, but I just and I like seeing Indiana be good. I do. But I don't see a top 10 team when I look at Indiana.
I think they're still coming around. I think that's the thing is they're not operating at max, like their highest level yet.
Really?
Yeah.
So let's put it this way. Just a little exercise here. If you played Indiana, Miami next week, who wins that game?
Indiana.
I would
because
so if we look at like the lines, I think the lines would say Indiana. But because of the name Miami and the name Indiana, that's why we're hesitating.
But Indiana or Miami's putting up big numbers and big points, but I think Indiana is fast and strong.
Well,
people are not giving them credit for that.
I brought up Miami because they just beat Virginia Tech by 1 point.
Right.
Right? Like they're the top 10 team that I also think doesn't really need to be there. And we're looking at Indiana, talking about possibility of Indiana in the playoff, which again,
Miami beat NC State by 3 the week before and beat Virginia Tech by 1. They've won the last 2 games by 4 points.
That's what I'm saying. And I think you're right in saying that like it's a name thing.
Yeah.
Like you're going in there, your name's Miami, which hasn't meant anything since 2003. But you have Indiana there that is a really good football team. They're really good. They're like fundamentally sound. But I just don't see – they're just not like – I don't know.
Let me so I just looked up, and plus Miami has 1 loss. I just looked up their game against North Carolina State. So they were actually losing going into the 4th quarter against North Carolina State. Their quarterback threw for 75%, 430 yards and 5 touchdowns, and they won by 3 points.
Yeah.
That quarterback pitched a perfect game, and they won by 3 to an NC State team that is 4-3.
Then you have Indiana's quarterback threw for 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, and won by 24.
Yeah.
And threw 2 interceptions. Still turned the ball over and won by 24. Yeah.
I think I'm having a hard time not looking at them and saying, "Oh, you're Indiana."
Yeah, it is hard.
Like,
but I believe in that training. I believe in that sprint-based training. I don't think many people do that. Like, I still think that's a new thing in college football. And you're seeing some teams that are coming out of like nowhere, and it's like, how the hell is Indiana relevant?
Yeah.
Because they're not pulling 5-star recruits. They're not pulling 4-star recruits. They might get 2 stars. And they're becoming relevant. Now,
Yeah.
are they going to beat Alabama? No. But they can beat these other teams that are bigger and are slower.
Very conservatively. Third down and
Oh,
70.
What are you doing?
That's happened to me. That's happened to me 4 times on the when you guys listen to the audio, we're going to hear my ads pop up from ESPN.
No, that was actually like part of the game from the Miami game because I pulled up that Miami stat line there. I think Indiana still got more in the tank, and I think that's what's scary about them. They have not played a perfect game, and they're still undefeated.
I'm just impressed how fast they are when they run a lot of mesh and shallow crossing routes, and once they get the ball, they're gone. And that's how impressive they are to me offensively. And then defensively, since Coach West has told me about their sprint stuff, I'm looking at it differently, and I'm looking how quickly they're moving and how powerful their moves are. And then I look at Alabama, and I'm like, oh, like it looks similar. Now, they're not Alabama, but it looks similar.
No.
So you give Indiana a couple years here?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen.
If that coach stays, which I think he will, I think he's a good dude. I don't think he's going to hop to a bigger thing. I think he's one of those that takes a lot of pride in what he's got going. But if he stays there, they will get some people. And when they get some people, it's going to be dangerous. Because you got to look at what this is doing with Alabama. It doesn't even look like any team should be on the field with Alabama. It's like they play around with them like a cat playing with like a little toy, and then they just destroy them in like 3 minutes and can put up like 21 points.
So, all right, if you're a team like Indiana, and obviously your top 10 team, you have to at least be thinking like you have aspirations of a playoff spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you take your foot off the gas in the second half of that game?
Well, I think part of it was that the head coach, his son is a linebacker, and his son got put out that game by injury.
I saw that.
So I don't know if that's part of it. And then, Michigan State throttled Michigan. Maybe Michigan State figured out some stuff at halftime. They couldn't really do nothing. And Indiana didn't need to make adjustments because you just scored 24 points in a half.
Yeah. But to me, if Indiana's going to prove to me that they're playoff worthy, you have to stomp their asses. A team like Michigan State, you should hang, if you're that explosive, you should put up 40 points. Prove.
But they also pitched a
Prove to me that your offense is worthy enough, because that's what's building this Indiana team, right? Is their offense.
Or are they saving their gas for Ohio State next week?
And
we need to slow it down.
We talked about that a while back with Notre Dame.
Yes.
Bullshit. Put up the points.
Oh, I agree, but
different offense.
His son got hurt. I think that had something to do with it. Okay, maybe we need to slow it down. Our defense is playing good. We're probably going to win. And we have Ohio State next week. Notre Dame's was ridiculous because that was 4 weeks ago. Clemson is way down the road. You have Ohio State in 7 days, 6 days.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just I'm having a hard time with Indiana.
Well, if you look at it, they've put up 36, 37, 38. This is the first time they scored under 35. And they pitched a shutout. The other games were 36, 35, 37, 21, 38, 21. Then they just won 24-0. I'm just telling you, it's hard to shut teams out in college football.
And Michigan State doesn't have slackers on defense either.
No, I know they're like a better football team than their record. It's just, I don't know. The same way I'm in on Illinois for no reason, for some reason I'm out on Indiana for no reason.
Because you look at Ohio State, they haven't shut out anybody. I mean, they allowed 27 to Rutgers. Illinois allowed less points than that. 17 a not good Nebraska team, and then they beat Penn State the week after Indiana did. Scored the same amount of points Indiana did. They just allowed a touchdown less. So, I mean, they're fairly relevant.
I don't know. Don't know.
I think we would have known about Ohio State if they would have played Maryland this week. That would have gave us a way better gauge.
I was looking forward to that game too because Tua's brother's the quarterback at Maryland. They have an Alabama coach there. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Former Illini coach. Don't forget that.
yeah, and that too. And then he's on Nick Saban's staff. So he's
Yep.
probably like, look at what you're supposed to do. I went from Illinois. Look at this.
But he was our offensive coordinator when we went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's their head?
Mike Loxley.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because then he went to Alabama for a little bit, and then
He was an offensive quality control guy. Just like all of their guys who are quality control and then somehow become a head coach. Like,
Yeah.
because they're getting paid on their buyouts. Because he went to like New Mexico or something, didn't he? New Mexico Lobos, maybe?
well,
Mike Loxley did.
yeah, and then we're getting off topic. Look like Steve Sarkisian. He was a quality control. Then Lane Kiffin left. He becomes the play caller.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is his name Butch Jones, who was the head coach at Tennessee?
Yes.
He's a
Mhm.
quality control guy there now for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And he doesn't coach nothing. He just stands there and he's like, I'm here.
He runs the statistics.
And they're getting paid millions from their other school. Then they're getting paid like $40,000 a year to do this other thing in Alabama. They're like,
I think it's volunteer.
is it?
I think quality control stuff's like a volunteer thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Which-
you've got
Why would-
one level guys.
no, you get paid because Brent Dearman left his head job and went to Kansas, and that's what he was doing last year. You make like 30, 40 some $1,000s a year.
Oh, okay. Well,
But like when you compare it to what the actual coach is making, it's so much less.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But still, you pay me $30,000 or $40,000 a year, I'll go do that. I'll sit there and tell
Especially in
you.
Alabama because you get a ring for it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just being a quality control guy, 40,000, and you just get every ring that they win?
I might not ever leave.
No, I wouldn't.
And you never buy clothes again. They give you all this
Yeah.
Alabama. Never buy clothes again.
Better
I would
just
show up to weddings in an Alabama sweatsuit.
absolutely.
And wear all your rings. You'd be like, fuck you guys. Look at what I got.
Yeah.
Your ring is not as cool as
Yeah,
my
2
ring.
hands worth of rings.
Yeah.
That wedding ring does not match these ones right here.
No.
All right. Are we going to talk Notre Dame now?
Sure. We're an hour and 27 minutes into this thing, and 55 minutes was Illinois. And
Yeah.
Brad, we need a confession.
30 minutes was hot topics.
Hot topics, 30 minutes Illinois.
Yeah. Then me coming out as an Illinois believer.
See, Brad, I wanted to say this last thing. I was like you once. I wanted to jump right back on there, but this year I'm just kind of done.
I look for the spark, like where it's supposed to be, right? So you got Lou Hernandez, which don't get me wrong, he does a great job building big teams in the weight room, but Matter Bebe is slower. He's bigger, he's stronger, but he isn't as explosive, I don't think. Either that or we don't have a guy who can get him the ball. I don't know. But we look slower. Like we legit look slower.
Yeah. We look like a very slow football team.
Yeah. And so that right there, like that eliminates the promise for me. Because if you're not doing the right things, in my opinion, off the field and getting speed, you're not going to have the explosiveness to score points.
Uh-oh. Hey, say.
We're getting the tour.
We're getting the
Welcome to this part of the podcast. Welcome to my crib.
Yes.
Check out. Little piss spot.
You don't see that shit on Pat McAfee.
She was doing so good, and then you get like half a second. Hey, by the way, check it out.
Look at that, the Illini flag in the background. I see that.
Yeah.
Is Lovie Smith over there right now? Are you getting paid to talk good about?
Yeah.
Hey, send some of that this way. I got to promote this. Send some of that. If he starts paying me, I'll start talking good. We'll get some things going.
Yeah, until we get some sponsorship. I
Bang
don't know why
energy.
I brought her outside. She already pissed. Now she's
The
just,
right thing to do.
now she's just sitting there. Fucking lazy ass. Okay. You talk Notre Dame while I'm outside.
So this was their trap game, wasn't it? I think this was going to be their trap game. You'd beat Clemson. Me and Nate, I think Nathan texted it like they look like Boston College looked like they wanted to win. That quarterback for Boston College was pissed because he had to leave Notre Dame. He took it personal.
Yep.
I forgot how big. I knew Clemson's tight ends were big against Clemson. Look how much taller they were than Boston College when they threw the ball up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the score I had it up?
Well, and
45 to 31.
31. So they won. Yeah.
So, Brad, you missed the game. I was going to
But
wear the shirt today. Brad wasn't here last week when I had my Notre Dame shirt on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
There was a reason I
was. So that's my thing is well, and when I said like Boston College is shooting their shot, they had just recovered that onside kick. And I was like, they're playing to freaking win. Like they're getting after it. And good for them, not just sitting there and just taking an ass whooping. They were trying to deal it. And I like that.
It just stinks because like you see teams do that and they like give it their all and then they just get overpowered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
because actually they won the second half by a point. It was the second quarter that they lost.
Yeah. Which I don't know.
Well, then Ian Book threw 3 touchdown passes and rushed for a touchdown. So he had 4 touchdowns on his own.
Yeah.
Like in the first quarter, it looked like I thought it was it. I was like, Notre Dame looks tired all of a sudden. Like they just don't look like they're ready to be there. I'm like, you just play Clemson, I understand. And then all of a sudden, I think they realized like, oh, we if we lose, we have no shot. So we have to win now. Like we have to win convincingly.
Yeah.
And they have 200 more yards than Boston College. Holy Moses.
Like their offense all of a sudden looks competent.
Yeah, Brad, ever since you and I had that show and we said we were done, they played Louisville and they ran the same play 45 times in the same formation 45 times. I think they heard us. They said, that stupid guy up in Naperville doesn't know what he's talking about. That guy down in Southern Illinois doesn't know what he's talking about. Their only fan is now a co-host. They know nothing.
Yeah.
I think
they opened it up.
Yeah, they finally like you see the full offense. Like
yeah.
Because they had 283 pass yards and 274 rush yards.
Okay, so we're talking about how big they are. Do they have the size and the speed to stop Alabama at this point?
No, their offense is big. Notre Dame's offensive line is huge. Their tight ends are huge. So offensively, I think they could give some teams trouble because they're going to do what they not do what they want, but they're going to look at you and say, that's what they did against Clemson. Like, we have to run the ball and we don't have to score quick. We don't have to get – me and Nathan talked about Clemson.
Yeah.
They scored on the very first play of overtime. Notre Dame said, we are going to take as long as we want to score because that's what we can do.
We're going to run the ball and we're going to do our thing.
And then they score. Notre Dame gets the ball back, scores again. What Clemson do? They try to get cute and try to take a shot to score in one play and they get sacked. Let's run really quick. Like, that's where they screwed up.
Yeah.
This year, for once in Kelly's life, because I'm not a fan of Kelly, once in his life, they're making good coaching decisions. So I think offensively, they're not going to beat Alabama, but I think they could do some things against Alabama because they have a big team. It's Notre Dame's defense. They're a bend, don't break, and against Alabama, they would break. Because Notre Dame keeps everything in front of them. They don't want to get beat deep. They want to keep everything in front, and that's how they beat Clemson. They said, we're going to get you in front of us, take a long time to score.
Yeah.
So against Alabama, that's what they would do. They would try to keep them in front and say, this is what we're going to do. But then Alabama's going to score. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, Clemson was missing 4 defensive starters when they played Notre Dame as well. And I think most of their linebackers were like true freshmen. So Alabama is going to have the size and the speed to keep up with those guys. If not, you're telling me Moses can't cover one of their tight ends and just neutralize him? Because that kid's playing out of his mind. I don't know if to beat an Alabama, I feel like you've got to have some home run threats, and you can have the greatest tight ends in the world, but they're not going to outrun anybody. And Alabama is they're freaking fast, and they're going to be faster, more powerful when they get to the national championship game. That's the other thing. Like their strength guy last week posted another week of the entire team getting faster and more powerful. They're doing this like in season. And so the Alabama you see in a month is going to be way better than the Alabama you're seeing now as far as athleticism. And that's scary. It's like this endless thing.
I don't know.
But I think Saban is really working with that staff to make sure that those kids are rested. Because if you think about it, how many of their guys get like hurt throughout the year and then they got to play with injuries or with little dings in like the national championship game? And I think that's why he got rid of that old strength and conditioning coach. It's because they always had a few guys out with ACLs and all other kinds of things. These guys were here to make them a Ferrari that runs all the time.
Yeah. And they are now.
Yeah.
And you're right, because I remember several years ago, like Alabama had that string of like great linebackers who were getting injured consistently. Yep. And now their guys just seem to stay healthy.
Because they're rested.
Yeah.
It's so like it would throw a lot of people off, but it's, the grind. No, there's no grind. We're going to get in here and we are going to basically add high performance parts to our engine. And then we're going to go rest for 48 hours.
Yep. Which is smart. Like you think about these guys at 18 to 22 years old, making them play 14 games in the SEC, like be efficient with your practices. That way, you're not wearing them down for games.
Yep. And, it's hard to improve performance in season. And they're doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a whole different thing. Like you not only have to recover from your workouts, but then you have a game where you literally, it's like being in a car accident.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I don't know. I don't think it stinks because this season has been a lot of fun, but I don't think anyone's going to beat Alabama.
The only one that looks like they're going to compete with them is Clemson. When they're at full power, they got size, they have speed, and if Ole Miss can do all that to Alabama, what do you think Clemson's going to do?
Yeah.
True.
But then, like Nathan said, Alabama's going to be even better when they go play Clemson.
And they'll be fully healthy.
And they'll be healthy.
Yeah.
And then you've got a Clemson team that's going to have to play out Notre Dame again. And Notre Dame's going to do what they did and pound them into submission. Like, we're going to run the ball at you with our 4 tight ends and our 6'5", 300-pound linemen. And Alabama's going to be healthy.
Yeah. And I think that's something, dude, you'd rather be 100% healthy and 80% in shape than the other way around.
I get that for sure. I don't know. I'm excited to see who finishes the season strong. I think there will be a couple of these teams that are contenders at this point that are going to fall off, especially the teams that have never done it before.
Right.
And I think Notre Dame's one of those teams.
Well, I was getting ready to say, we got off the topic of Notre Dame, but I'm looking at their schedule. They have this week off, which they need. They're not playing. Yeah. Their next game is against North Carolina.
And that'll be a good game. Mac Jones will have them ready to play.
at
Yeah.
North Carolina, mind you.
And you want to talk about big receivers. Like North Carolina has some guys that look like their basketball teams out there.
Right. Well, what's impressive about Notre Dame is their good receivers are tight ends, but they're like Hernandez. Like they run like wide receivers, and that's what's great about Notre Dame is that number 11. I cannot remember his name. He looks lengthy, but he can block people like no other.
What is Brad doing?
Brad is hunting for his dog. That dog is probably gone.
He keeps on like looking over his shoulder. I'm wondering if we got to go down there and take care of somebody. Like, you know.
Are there some Indiana fans down there now? Did you piss off some Indiana fans?
Oh, my pup was out wandering around over here. I was getting a little worried. Ah,
Josh will pee on you.
no, she's all empty at this point.
You think that?
Empty tank. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? You're in Southern Illinois. It's blue sky. Up here, it looks like a monsoon.
And in the middle, it's cloudy and really, really windy. Like really windy.
We had some snow falling.
We've got the wind down here really bad. It's like 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
Yeah. The trees ain't moving that much. Like I'm looking outside and our trees are like bowing.
Oh, really?
Back. Yeah.
That's what's happening here. I keep looking out there. I'm like, oh, it's going to fall in our apartment building. Good thing we're on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad I cut that tree down a couple weeks ago. It's probably falling by now.
Doing man things.
Yeah, you know it. I spend most of my weekends down here in my bib overalls, running a chainsaw.
Is that why you didn't join our show?
No. I did take a picture of it the other day. I sent it to some people. I was sitting there just covered head to toe in like dirt and sawdust with a chainsaw. And I was like, what part of this says like master degree educated dietitian?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're supposed to be paying people to do that.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I don't make that much money. Ricky's the pharmacist. She makes the money. I just yell at people to eat their vegetables.
Do they want to sponsor the podcast? We'll take some money and we'll get some pharmacy going.
Yeah. We're just sponsored by every boner pill on the market.
Yes.
This show is brought to you by Viagra. If you have a hard time listening to us, you want to talk about hard-ons, we can talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have an erection for longer than 4 hours, please consult your physician.
Now we can talk about Illinois.
Yeah. Okay, so who are we watching next week?
So I wrote down some, and you let me know. Okay. Well, Illinois plays Nebraska, unfortunately. Okay. Then I wrote down Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's at the same time as Indiana and Ohio State.
Oh. Well, that's where the computer comes into play. TV and computer.
Yeah.
I might DVR the Appalachian State and Coastal Carolina and watch it because I don't even see Oregon, SMU.
I wrote down Ole Miss plays Texas A&M.
That will be a good one. Oh, Wisconsin and Northwestern.
And Wisconsin and Northwestern. And then I think, let me look.
You've got Oklahoma State and Oklahoma.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah, they play each other.
Ooh, that would be a good game. Yep.
So is that 6 freaking games? You guys are killing me with.
Oh, well, I'm going to watch 3 of them because I will not turn off from the Indiana-Ohio State game. Like, that's one I will watch.
So if we're picking 3, let's just pick 3 time frames in here, and we'll pick games from those. So the early game.
Unless it gets flexed. It could get flexed because, I mean, you don't want a battle of undefeateds and a top 10 matchup to be an 11 o'clock game. Like, I don't feel like that happens.
And then what if this happens? What if Ohio State just puts it on Indiana in the first quarter or first half?
Well, then I guess I got to watch my DVR Coastal Carolina.
I don't think that's going to happen, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
So Indiana, Ohio State. Old Miss plays Texas A&M at 2:30.
There you go.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Well, and then you have Wisconsin and Northwestern play at 2:30 as well.
So which one's more interesting?
Yeah, I think I'd probably rather watch that Wisconsin Northwestern game.
Well, see, you guys need some technology. I split screen. I have one game on one side of my computer, another one on the other. I steal my parents' Xfinity login, so I'm able to do things I'm not.
That's just too much for me, man. And then because like I feel like because I was like bouncing back and forth this week between I can't even remember what games it was, Illinois game and whoever was playing in their time slot. I can't remember. And it was like hard time paying attention, but I still knew that Illinois was trash. So I wasn't really watching Illinois for the quality of the game. I was just going to see if they were going to win.
Yeah.
That's what I did too. I was like, oh, look, they're still running their quarterback for the 28th time. I'm surprised he doesn't have a concussion.
Which, by the way, did you know that Nathan Shieldhouse is not in the top 10 for rushing yards in a game by quarterbacks at U of I?
Because they did more play action RPO stuff with him. They didn't kill him. But I thought he would have had more than what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's not
no,
at all.
no, he is not in the top 10 for like rushing yards in a game.
Because who did he beat?
You had Juice, you had the Isaiah Williams, and then you had like the AJ Bush on there like 2 or 3 times.
That's who it was.
But he was not in the top 10, and I was like, it's really surprising considering he's the number 1 like leader in total yards at Illinois.
Huh. Interesting.
I thought that was interesting. So that was maybe that should have been a hot topic. But
yeah. So then the night game, are we gonna watch Oklahoma State, Oklahoma?
yeah.
That's
Well,
gonna be a million points. It's gonna be fun.
Is that at 6:30?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm still
And
going
then
to peek at that Appalachian State game.
late night though,
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the USC game. USC Utah.
You're pulling all nighter.
Man,
Utah hasn't even played.
I'm in quarantine.
This is going to be your best contributions to the cast this next week.
I got nothing better to do.
You're going to have names, stats, and blood types of every player.
You're gonna my screen's gonna come up and it's gonna be like that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's like, Pepe Sylvia. I got Pepe Sylvia everywhere.
Either that or you're just going to be like, let me take control of this, and you just share your screen. Now, here is my analytical breakdown of why this happened. You have all
me and
these
Nathan
charts.
will talk about how Illinois should not run the quarterback 40 times.
Yes. Do they play
Yeah.
next week?
They play Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Oh. What time's
I'm
that
gonna watch
game? 11 o'clock.
There's something about that early 11 a.m. Illinois game that just sets the rest of your day up so nice. It's just like nothing could go worse for me today.
Well, and so here's the other thing that I think would be interesting. So Ohio State normally does not play early. So if they have to play Indiana first thing in the morning, I think that helps Indiana.
I think so too. Because they're a primetime team.
Shoot.
Right.
Illinois plays at 11. Shoot. Can't watch
Well,
that one.
You got to watch the only there's actually 2 Big Ten games, Northwestern, Wisconsin, and then Indiana and Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's the 2 big ones.
So, who should take over Illinois' program?
Okay. I have to get off of here because I have a very sick girlfriend with a deadly disease that is requiring food.
Brad, you owe us from last time. Don't you be doing
Hey,
that.
no,
You're talking about Illinois' quarterback.
I'm saying here, we're going to take that question, and that's going to be how we open Illinois Sadness next week.
I can live with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that allows me to think a little bit.
So who's your dream? Let's say you're like top 3 dream candidates for Illinois.
Dream, money's not an object.
Oh, no. I mean, it has to be like realistic.
Well, Urban Meyer's available.
Yeah, but he's not coming to Illinois.
Well, you
that's what
throw
I'm saying.
$30 million a year at him.
Yeah, money that we don't have.
Perfect. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how the whole state of Illinois works.
Yeah, we're going to pay Urban Meyer, but my mother doesn't get her retirement
Yes.
from the university. Okay.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
sure they love that trade-off.
if you think about it, our state passed a budget that was $8 billion in the red. So, I mean, what the hell? You just write checks, cash them, and just keep running the whole.
Yeah, you write the check and hope it doesn't bounce.
Yeah.
What's another $90 million add on to that for 3 years of Urban Meyer's time?
Fuck it. Yeah.
And Urban Meyer, and this is also in the contract, Urban Meyer has to find a disciple to leave the program to after his 3 years.
For $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Slightly less. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. I got to get off here.
All right. Well, anybody? Jacob McLaughlin watched the entire time, I think. So we got to give a shout out.
Jacob, thank you for your service.
Yes.
And anybody now, guys, before we get off, people do watch this afterwards. I come back later on and there's like 20 watches here in like 2 hours. People watch it later. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I just do this live so I don't have to upload.
You want to know what's going to happen, though? I'm telling you, Brad, ours is going to because that's a big topic right now. People are all over the sports performance and like nutrition thing. So if we will put Steve through the roof. He'll be sponsored by like some protein organic drink when we're done.
Maybe they might not like what I have to say about a lot of those.
Don't mess with my sponsorships, Brad. Don't you dare ruin this for me.
I mean, I could get you sponsored from the Dairy Council.
Can you get Prairie Farms to sponsor this?
Well, that's part of it. Like Prairie Farms pays the Dairy Council a lot of money to market.
And my dad delivers their produce, so we can get this going. I know some dirt. Like I know what goes on. Come on now.
I know what's going on behind the scenes.
All right. Well,
yeah.
So, guys, I'm going to get these two guys on another podcast for this 4-hour topic we'll talk about later. They'll teach me some things. I won't do what Brad tells me to be skinny, but I'm going to learn some things. I may not do it, but I'll learn it. So thanks for listening. Stay safe. Wear your freaking masks so we can go back to normal. And we'll see you guys next time.